And welcome everybody to another episode, another Monday with Plug Talk Sports. I'm joined right now by Canes Don't Stop, Jonka Don't Stop, Giancarlo himself in the blood.
Yo, yo.
Of course, myself, Brandon Hernandez. Missing a few faces, but we got the two best ones.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But all in seriousness though, we got a lot of things on our plate. But of course, in old fashion, we got to start off. Jonka, worst or best plug of the week for you? Which one you going with first?
I'm gonna worst or best. I would say worst. I'll start off with worst. It's gonna have to be the Heat continue somehow losing another double-digit lead in the season. That I think it makes officially 15 games where the Heat had a double-digit lead and they lost it and they end up losing the game. I don't know what's going on with the Heat. Spoelstra giving stupid excuses. You're losing with Butler. You're losing without Butler. People make Wiggins and Hyman weren't playing yesterday against the Knicks. That doesn't mean anything because you were up 20 without them. So it doesn't make sense you lose 20 with them. I'm just saying I'm getting frustrated with this team. Just lose out the rest of the season. Try to go for Cooper Flag. Or I don't know, try to make something happen with KD or maybe LaMelo come in. I'm just fed up with this team for this point. Playing team, no playing team. I hope they fall out of the play-in, honestly, just so they can feel the pain a little bit more.
Well, again, the Heat, 7th right now in the Eastern Conference, 5 games away from the 6th seed Detroit Pistons. But Cooper Flag, we're talking about Cooper Flag already, though. I mean, there's some faith though in the play-in. There's some faith though, I would say.
I know.
But going off of that point, though, I would say the worst I saw over the week, and this is, sticking with the NBA, because the Heat aren't the only ones losing big-time leads. The Boston Celtics, myself, I am personally a Celtic fan. Hard game to watch against the Cavaliers. I get, Holiday's not playing, Porzingis isn't there, but for Tatum to be, get on out of here in the first quarter up 25-3, and then, we all know what happens. Donovan Mitchell's show takes over 41 points. Probably not the highlight of my week at all. Definitely not the highlight of my week.
Yeah, but it's unfortunate. Both of our teams are in a kind of like a little thing right now.
Yeah, but hey, the Heat did beat out the Wizards earlier today, so
it's doing something. Yeah. Wizards are the worst team in the league at the moment, so
yeah, you got to get where you can. But Jonka, best then this time around, best thing from this week.
Best thing for me, I'm gonna have to say for everybody that doesn't know or that are new here, I've been saying this. It's a movement. Lakers had a collab with One Piece, and now officially yesterday, the MLB, Major League Baseball, announces a collab with Demon Slayer. Bro, it's a movement. I'm telling you, don't come in the hype when I told you it was too late. I'm telling you, once it's mainstream, don't come at me, bro. You're missing out. I cannot wait. The Red Sox also have a One Piece collab. What else? I also want to give a shout out to all the former Canes that were at the NFL Combine trying to become NFL players. I hope everything goes good for you. I know the Combine ended today, so there will be an article coming out soon about where all the 10 Combine players will potentially be ending up on, according to my opinion. So if you want to look over to that, go to PlugTalkSports.co, and I'll let you know. I'll post it on my socials when it's ready.
Yeah, and again, if you're very new to the podcast, Jonka is everything Miami Hurricanes. So definitely follow him on his socials. And again, articles coming out soon for that. But actually, speaking of the Canes, though, I would have to say the best thing from this week, spring ball has just started for the Miami Hurricanes. We finally saw Carson Beck, and I find it kind of weird wearing the number 11 jersey at quarterback, last worn by Ken Dorsey in the early 2000s, the former national champion. So maybe a little, if he gets to wear the number, that's a big deal. for the Miami Hurricanes. But yeah, back in action over there in Coral Gables. A lot of things coming back for football. But let's get into the action, though. We're not talking about any bit of football till in the last few minutes of this one. But we got a lot of hockey to talk about to open up. The Florida Panthers actually just beat out the Tampa Bay Lightning 2-1 earlier this evening. And now we finally found ourselves with our newest addition on the ice. Defenseman Seth Jones. He originally came from the Chicago Blackhawks, a former basically lottery pick, a number 4 pick in his draft class. We ended up getting him as well as a 2026 4th-round pick. Chicago, we ended up giving up Spencer Knight. Now, Jonka, this is one thing I kind of was questionable about because not only Spencer Knight, but a 2026 conditional 1st-round pick as well. Yeah. I thought it was weird to see that. Now, I understand that Spencer Knight, it's any of the pieces on this Panther team, especially after a Stanley Cup. And again, we can also say this for a Super Bowl champion or NBA Finals champion. You want to keep that chemistry together. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I agree.
To see Spencer leave, though, I mean, the national anthem will never be the same for the Panther fans. You can't be yelling out Knight anymore, which, of course, is a tradition for them now. And now Spencer Knight, here's the worst part. His first game on the ice for Chicago, they didn't even have a helmet on him. They had a Panther helmet for him. It was a Panther helmet and a Blackhawks jersey. The guy is still with Panther-esque in him. You know what I mean? So this is such a new change. I would have to say it's a shame to see the guy from Boston College leave. Shame to see, I mean, I would have to say a huge project for the last 2-3 years. Now, does it kill the team? Not really. Seth Jones, intensely one of the best defensive guys out there early in his career. Kind of in that, not like midnight way or anything like that, but definitely will not be, prime time like he was in Chicago, right? But defensively, this does help our team a lot. It does open up more cap space. I believe $8.7 million of it. Zito is definitely making moves, and the trade deadline itself is at Friday. But speaking of which, other things, Jones in his first interview with the media as a member of the Florida Panthers, was talking about when you look at the NHL standard, this is it. Basically calling the Florida Panthers the standard in the NHL. So I like the idea that not only this trade happened, which helps us defensively, but I like the fact that he's on board. Like immediately just on board. And also effective in a 2-1 victory over the Lightning. Jonka, I'm curious with your take on this, though. Now, again, the trade deadline Friday. We've already saw from the 4 nations that Tkachuk is on IR. He will not be available for the regular season. The hope, according to Zito, the GM of the Panthers, is that he'll be available for the postseason. Do you think the Panthers are going to need a push? Now, no specific names, but knowing that Tkachuk is gone, do you think the Panthers need to make a push to see if they get a little more extra offensive players at the 4 position, knowing that Tkachuk will be gone and missing?
I have to agree. I think we do need an extra guy. Maybe not. I think we need more of a leader because Tkachuk is a leader, but we need that veteran guy that could score, or like at least like a how do you say, not like a rookie, but not a veteran, like a mid-career guy who's solid, who can actually go out, lead, score goals.
Yeah, has the potential.
Like something like that. Maybe you can work out. Maybe a team has him on the bench, not play too many minutes. Maybe you could work out a deal there, and then maybe as with our experience having just won the Stanley Cup, maybe we can instill that into that new player, and hopefully he somehow blossoms into the second half of the season, and maybe we can go back to back. But yeah, with Tkachuk being out, we're gonna need some extra firepower and leadership, because as of right now, without him, it would be extremely difficult to go back to back if this stays the way it is at the moment.
Yeah, I'm expecting now. There's a rumor out there. This is a big hypothetical, though. Brady Tkachuk, Matthew Tkachuk's brother, who as well was his teammate in the 4 nations. A lot of people knew him from the first 9 seconds fight. Big price tag out of Ottawa, but if they really got it, man. I mean, again, we got the pieces to make trades, though. I mean, Carter Verhaeghe, Sam Bennett, wouldn't be a question he'll help. But Jonka, I mean, your thoughts on that?
I've already sold the moment you said Brady Kachuk. Just besides, it reminds me of Tom Brady. Just from his fight in the Four Nations, he's already in my respect book. Just like the fight with Bennett was already like solid. Now like I, I'm sold. I'm sold. That's it. You sold me there. He has the attitude. He's willing to fight, and I think the Senators. I think after the drama what happened with the USA and Canada, I think they would be willing to do the trade, knowing that
Yep.
Kachuk is obviously out. Now I don't know what they would be asking for because he is a good player. They're not just gonna give him to us for no reason. But
yeah. Yeah, but we've seen crazier things though. We've seen Luka to the Lakers, so it's possible NHL stand.
To me, that trade was so orchestrated by the NBA. It was that trade should have never happened. That we're in hockey right now. Let's not deal with the NBA right now. Let's not give Adam Silver any credit.
Yep. We can't push. Again, I'm a huge NBA guy, but we can't push that basketball narrative just yet. But yeah, so just to sum up this portion, though, Florida Panthers getting Seth Jones, a former lottery guy in his draft class, and really one of the best defensive guys from his draft class. Now a Florida Panther, ended up defeating the Lightning 2-1 earlier with him, first time ever on the ice. And actually, another interesting thing with Spencer Knight being sent out over to Chicago, Chris Driedger has been elevated up to the roster, another goaltender as well, with some history in the regular season in the big show. But let's now make the transition right now to the pitch off the ice. We have Inter Miami news. Inter Miami so far undefeated throughout 2025 regular season in MLS, beating out the Houston Dynamo. Now, this was a 4-1 victory. And John and I were talking about this earlier in the podcast. No Messi, no problem. Suarez got himself a goal. Alone in the first half, Telesco Segovia, 2 goals in the first half. I think the first one was the first 10 minutes in, and then there was a little mishap there before even going to the half of the break. And he immediately jumps on it.
It was a weird one. It was I don't know, maybe the defense. It was kind of like the same thing as last week's with Jordi Alba, where he kind of like messed up, like he thought the defender was here. Yeah, I don't know what's going on with the league now. I think his defenders are just like thinking they're a ghost on the field, and then they're just missing passes. But yeah, it was once that play happened, I think the Dynamo kind of like were like, oh my god, now we're gonna have to fight for a goal. But then once they saw that the second goal by Tadeo in the 37th minute, I think they were just like, oh my god, now we're gonna have to fight back. I think what sealed the deal was that 45th minute goal, and then that was just like the icing on the cake. And then obviously like Luis Suarez to make it 4-0 was just like adding sprinkles. I really don't. They did what they had to do. No Messi. Messi. He was supposed to play. I don't know why he didn't play. I guess it was like, I don't know, load management. But it's like we're the second game of the season. I don't like, to be me personally, I don't like that. I don't like that. I'd rather see you play. People come out to see you play. So that's just me. But like I gotta give credit where credit's due. Miami played solid defense. They did what they had to do. Houston didn't really look that formidable to me. I mean, let's go. Like Miami moves on. We're at 4 points, and just to make sure where we are in the standings, according now.
And we basically, again, very early in the season, though. Very early in the season.
In the Eastern Conference, we are third. But we were behind the Columbus Crew in second, and then Philadelphia Union in first. And I will be saying right now, and me and Daniel, we've been to a Union game. The Union every year have somehow choked. They've had good squads, but they've choked it. But I will say, the Union are looking scary this year, bro. The Union are looking scary. Put that out there. Looking real good.
Yeah, I mean, again, the East is no joke, though. In my opinion, the East is no joke. But Also, I do want to do a quick shout out though, Oscar, because the goalkeeper though in this terms, because usually we're used to like Drake Calendar master classes and things like that, but he's been out as well. One of the few Inter Miami player, the Herons dealing with injuries. Oscar Ustari, and I apologize if I am butchering that name, but Oscar, the goaltender, currently right now number 19 for Inter Miami, he's been killing it though. I mean, only one goal allowed, and actually, I've seen him because I was there for the season opener, the home opener for Inter Miami. And again, of course, was a draw. But there were signs of, man, this guy's athletic, though. This guy really has the attention on the ball. I honestly like this team defensively this year. I love the team defensively this year. So,
I'd say I will
Jonka, I do also want to ask.
Yeah, before we
go ahead.
I will have to agree that the defense, besides that game against New York City FC, where they did have some blunders, but that they did have 10 men on the field, so that maybe that's why they were kind of out of like New York City FC is a good team, so they were going to take advantage that we were down a man. But if they scored a goal because of an error that hardly ever happens with Jordi Alba, with a seasoned veteran, so I don't think it's going to happen again. So the defense so far as of right now, it has looked better than we've seen the past couple years. So I'm not gonna jinx it, but overall, I'm like so far happy from what I've seen.
Yeah, no Figal blunders anymore. No break Shea. Nothing. No craziness going beyond these guys.
No Shaw. No this. No that. Oh my gosh.
Yeah, but speaking of craziness though, because I still want to stay on the Inter Miami thing, because me and John, we were talking about this. A lot of things going against the officiating in the Inter Miami games against the Herons, though. Now, a lot of people probably think the other way around, like, oh, they got Messi, Suarez, Busquets, Jordi Alba. Well, they're going to have, the favor in this one by the MLS. Yeah. Financially, probably, yes. But in this case around, we've got a red card per game, basically, right now for Inter Miami. And a lot of times, recently, though, with this Houston game, there was an incident where Ian Frey is trying to break free of a hold held by Ethan Bartlow's neck, basically one of the Houston Dynamo players. And Joe Dickerson, the referee at the time. Now, there is video about this. I will definitely check out Franco Panizo. My apologies again for butchering these names. But Franco, he's one of the best beat writers for Inter Miami. He has a great video about it. It's basically just this guy, Frey, being held, pushing himself off the guy, and then he gets the red card. And there's another video of where basically going against New York in the home opener, where Messi is pushed out of bounds. He's getting stepped on his foot. And then after the game, Messi goes into the face of a referee, and I guess like a little shoulder touch or whatever, grappling around. He gets fined an undisclosed amount. So, John, I'm kind of curious, knowing that Inter Miami, technically have won a trophy of something the past 2 seasons, from League's Cup to, like the League Shield. Do you think that these red cards are fair, or you think that the league itself is on notice right now with Inter Miami? We're like, hey, we got to humble these guys a little bit.
It's hard to say, because for the New York City FC game, there was a foul. I forgot on who it was. I think it was Aviles, where it was supposed to be in the box. Aviles gets to the ball first, but it was an awkward fall for both players. It was an awkward positioning, and they gave it a red card, and he was out. Now, this situation, another red card. It's hard to say, because it's like, okay, Messi wasn't there this game. It was really hard to say, because I'm not gonna accuse MLS of like giving out red cards just to like screw over Miami, because if Miami were to win, they would feel like the league is over at this point, because then everybody's gonna want to go to play in Miami, and who's gonna beat Miami with no state income taxes? It's Miami, and you get to play with Beckham and Messi, the greatest of all time. Like, I feel like that's the one thing the league is kind of low-key scared of, is like, okay, maybe I'm not gonna say it's like a thing, right? It's
Yeah.
like conspiracy theories. Like from everything I just said, like they're trying to avoid success as much as possible. Last season, Miami had a bad defense, but a great offense. Low key, kind of like the Canes, but where they led the. It's basically the same thing.
Yeah, I mean, hell of a comparison, though.
But this year, the defense is looking pretty good as of so far. But the offense doesn't look as potent. But it's a whole new roster turnover. So I feel like they're just kind of trying to work out the who's going first, who's going who, like what's going on. I'm gonna have to see more adjustments that Marciano makes throughout the season, but I'm not gonna put say that much yet going into it to make any accusations. But
Mhm.
I will say I would put a lookout for Miami because if they were to start winning and their defense does look legit, at, let's say a quarter way into the season, right? And they're scoring goals and they're in the top and they're like points ahead of everybody, I would have to put notice on people like, hey, you're gonna have to try to get more physical to beat Miami because now I wouldn't suggest that because you do have Messi. Now he's gonna get favorable calls because it's damn Messi and he's the money maker for the damn league as of right now. So I wouldn't suggest that. But if you want to take the hit, take the hit.
Yeah. And actually, speaking of Messi, though, the funny thing about it, the Houston Dynamo giving the fans that went to that game the option for a future game because Messi wasn't playing. Insane. Insane.
It's the influence, bro.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's the Messi effect. That's basically what it is. It's all number 10. It's all number 10. Now, if Danny was here, he would, talk about, well, Messi isn't, Messi. Well, I mean, again, Madrid isn't playing against Messi anymore. But I definitely do think it is the Messi effect.
That's fire.
Just was waiting for him to jump through the window. But but with that, Inter Miami winning it 4-1 and still being undefeated throughout the early parts of the season. Now let's go to NBA talk. However, this is a little more off the court. Jimmy Butler dealing with some legal issues. He still lenders around South Beach, at least his name, that is, in some law books. Jimmy Butler dealing with some legal issues right now due to allegedly failing to pay $260,000 in rent and leaving with approximately $127. That's right, $127,000 in damages to his former home in Miami. 5-star, one of the agency looking after this, said Butler stayed in Miami Beach house for 2 months past his lease back in August 2024. And from what we know of, we're talking about him not being able to pay rent, leaving damages worth more than what is due of his rent, let alone. John, I'm just more curious about what were the damages potentially? I mean, like, it's not like he just like threw everything at the wall and said, I'm out of here. I don't think Jimmy's that type of guy. But this is a little bit insane because I don't even think, like, even guys that get traded to 4 different squads, they at least pay rent for the one day that they get traded to a new team or something like that when they accidentally buy a house. And it's like, oh, well, look at this. I get traded again. Like Dennis Schroeder. But Jimmy Butler, he gets sent off, knew this was coming for a long time, basically, and still was behind on his dues. I mean, I'm not liking the image. I'm not liking the image. I get he wasn't being paid much at the end of his tenure with Miami, but I don't like the image.
I don't know, man. It just felt like where did this come from? Like you come like this is weeks after the trade had already happened, and then now we're getting this information. I'm like, where was this information there when he was in Miami, or like the day or two after he already got traded? Why didn't it come out then? I don't know. It feels like whoever's in charge of the Airbnb is kind of looking for a scapegoat to pay for his damages. Like, I feel like what the reason Jimmy Butler didn't play 2 nights ago against Philadelphia with the Warriors is because of he's dealing with this situation. He did play tonight, but I think this is all just like smoke and mirrors. I feel like this is not anything crazy. I think this is going to be just brushed off. Like, okay, here's some money. Okay, whatever. I'll just pay it, and then they'll just get on with their lives. I feel like this isn't anything crazy to me. Now, if you want to see it as like the way it makes you look, personal brand. Like, have they said that it was Jimmy Butler who caused this damage?
Well, again, that's what's left in the house. And again, Jocko, we're talking about damages and rent. We're talking about more than $500,000 due. So this is a lot, though. I mean, again, I know that Jimmy Butler himself, he does have children. So again, I'm not saying I don't know the man, I don't know the family, anything like that. So I don't know what could have caused this, but who else but Jimmy's in the house? You know what I mean? So that's the only thing I can think of. I mean, it had to be Butler. The question is, I just want to know what was the like? Was it a wall was torn down? Was it like the piping or something went off? Because if you're talking about over $100,000 of damages, according to 5-star, I mean that's got to be a whole system in the house. Like he took every cable down, ripped the walls out or something. Like did he have a contractor out there detailing everything? What happened? You know?
I mean, knowing that it's Jimmy Butler and he likes to be extravagant, and obviously he's gonna probably live in a big, nice mansion. $100,000 doesn't is probably like nothing in a mansion. Now maybe make a house like mine. Yeah, sure, $100,000 can be a lot of damage, but 100,000, that's like a cracked tile on the floor that was imported from Italy or something. That you don't even know. Like I don't know. It could be maybe the owner of the Airbnb is just like being petty, and then he just try to get whatever penny he can out of this situation. I don't know. I gotta see like what the damages are
Absolutely.
before I make anything. Everybody's innocent until proven guilty. As much as I hate how Jimmy Butler acted on his way out, I can't really say anything on this because I just don't know all the facts and everything that actually happened.
Mm-hmm.
So until then, my opinion will stay quiet. Until I get more facts, I don't want to say
it's a safe opinion, though. It's a safe opinion. But again, as mentioned before, for these allegations themselves, they are allegedly. This is what we're talking about. That he did not pay rent. That he is leaving the house with damages over $127,000.
Mm-hmm.
Allegedly. Hopefully, it's not true. Hopefully, these are reports. And again, we've seen reports go back 2 different ways, but it's not looking too good for Jimmy Butler still in Miami. Not even in the state, living in the state, but still not looking good in South Beach. But John, now to probably the biggest part of our night. This was on my mind the entire week when I saw this from Fox Sports. It is the top 10 biggest athletes currently active in South Florida. For those who have not known about this, Fox Sports put out a top 10 about this, most basically best athletes, influential, overall athlete, prime or not. It's the best athletes in South Florida, top 10. And Drago, I'm going to go through the list 10 to 1 here. So you tell me when you want to stop about something very specific on this list. But I'm going at number 10, Luis Suarez of Inter Miami.
Luis Suarez. Okay,
9. 9.
Mm-hmm.
Devon Achane.
Okay.
Now we're talking about top 10 active, but let me keep on going here. Number 8, Jalen Waddle. And this I had to do a quick spill about. Number 7, Carson Beck. Fox Sports put Carson Beck at number 7, a guy who hasn't even thrown a football yet. The biggest thing known about him as a Hurricane is that his car got stolen. That's the biggest thing we know of him so far as a Hurricane since the first day of spring. But hey, number 7, whatever. That's what they put down. A guy that hasn't even won a national championship yet. This is something. Number 6, Matthew Tkachuk, and a little spoiler alert, the only Panther on this list from Fox Sports. And now this is where it gets really interesting because this I'm not in disbelief about. I can see someone doing this top 5, but I'm kind of surprised by the order. Number 5, Bam Adebayo. Number 4, Tua Tagovailoa. Tyreek Hill, the former 2024 NFL basically player of the year, voted by his peers, Tyreek Hill. Number 2, Tyler Hero, who's coming off his first ever All-Star appearance, having career numbers this year. And at number 1, of course, Lionel Messi.
Of course.
So again, Jonka, that is the top 10 by Fox Sports standards. One Panther, mind you, after a Stanley Cup winning season, and a player that has yet to even wear the University of Miami's uniforms at Hard Rock Stadium. Jonka, your thoughts of this top 10 by Fox Sports?
First of all, okay. All I know you can make the argument. Okay, Messi at 1. Okay, all right, Messi at 1, easily.
We can live with that. Yeah.
Hill at 3. Okay, I can live with Hill at 3. Bam. Okay. Suarez at 10. Okay. Maybe we can play around with it, but okay. Kachuk at 6. I'm okay.
Really? You don't think he's higher than that?
I'm okay. No, like I'm okay with him on the list.
On the list, okay. Well, I see you. I see. I see where you're going. I see where you're going.
But
okay.
Messi at 1, okay. But like, okay, Hero on the list, I'm okay with. Carson Beck on the list, no. I am not okay with. Achan, no. I'm stuck between Waddle and Tua.
On Tua, and you're talking about being in the top 10.
That's
like, crazy. Wait, hold on. I did not expect this conversation to go this way. You don't think Tua Tagovailoa is a top 10 currently best active players playing in Miami? You don't believe that?
Is it Miami or Florida?
Well, if they're including the Panthers, I'm guessing the South Florida, right?
South Florida,
like Inter Miami is for Lauderdale, but it's Miami. So South Florida it is.
Not even like you wouldn't throw in Sandy Alcantara?
Actually, that is another thing. This list even had any Marlins players. Well, I'll put it in this perspective. If we were to throw Sandy in there, I think that would be the only Marlin that's in there, in my opinion. And again, this is, yeah. And this
I would take out Beck and put in Alcantara.
That is safe, though. But I would also tell you this, though. He's just coming off of Tommy John, though. He hasn't played at all for a whole year.
The thing is, like, Carson Beck, yeah, sure, he played at Georgia, but he just got to Miami. Sandy, he's already played in Miami. He just got surgery, but that's okay.
Yeah, and Carson Beck isn't, like, to give you an example, Carson Beck wasn't even, like, the top 5 quarterback in college football last year. You know what I mean? Like, if he was, he'd probably be, well, again, a good quarterback, great quarterback.
He lost Ladd McConkey and Brock Bowers.
All right, let's calm down. All right.
Come on. I might be a little 2 top first-round picks.
I might be a little biased. All right. I might be a little biased. But again, we're talking about I still am more displeased by, does Sergei Bobrovsky, the goaltender for the Panthers,
of him too.
He should be top 10 in this one. I'm more surprised about not only Carson Beck, but Jalen Waddle and Levon Achan. I understand they're used a lot. I understand they're very skillful players, great players for the Dolphins. But what, Achan gets how much touches per game? Does that make him a top 10 player in South Florida actively right now? Jalen Waddle, great player, had 1,000 receiving yard years. But currently, does that make him right now one of the best players in South Florida? I think we got to put some Panthers in there. And, Jonka, I don't know. Again, I might just be spewing right now because I'm still in disbelief about this. But Tyler Hero at number 2?
I don't think I think it should be Messi at 1.
Mm-hmm.
Hill at 2. I think Hill's a bigger star than Hero is. I would put Hero at 3.
Over Bam.
Then I
Okay.
would put Suarez because he is worldwide, because he played soccer.
Of
Then I
course.
would put Bam. And then at 6, I would put Kachuk. Let me see. It's just there we go. There it goes. It's just those last 4, bro.
Yeah, right on the edge.
I'm gonna put Alcantara.
Okay, so you're really pushing for Sandy in here. You're really pushing for Sandy.
Hey, when you have a top pitcher in the league, you cannot leave him out of a top 10
Yeah. Again, a Cy Young awarded pitcher. So that's
exactly.
yeah.
And he has been pitching pretty well since he's been back for the spring training.
Mm-hmm.
The thing is, I'm not sold. If you guys know me, like Tua isn't that good to me, but I feel like I would support more Waddle than Tua. I like Waddle, but
But after
HN
the year,
like Carson Beck and HN, no, cut the BS. Like if anything, I would I would throw in if it's gonna be a Dolphin, I'd throw in Jonnu Smith because he went to
yes,
FIU.
yes, I actually have that in my top 10. I actually do have that.
Okay.
Again, he was really the best player this season for Miami.
I agree.
Yeah.
Let me see, 8, 9, and 10. I'm gonna put Jonnu at 10.
Okay.
Now 8 and 9, it's probably up to Tua and Waddle, but I'm trying to think of anybody else that could possibly take.
Hey, again, we talked about Panthers though earlier. I know you got Kachuk in there.
Bobrovsky at 8 or 9.
I would get rid of. I don't like Waddle. Again, I love Waddle as a player, but I don't like him top 10 though for South Florida overall, like professional.
Would you
I don't like that.
Would you put Tua over Waddle
In this list? Absolutely. In this, John can only make that. In this list, absolutely, I would. I definitely would. I know you got an image about Tua not being that guy, but Tua has been the best quarterback in the last 20 years for the Dolphins.
over Fitzpatrick? Over Fitzpatrick?
Yes, over Fitzpatrick. And again, this isn't.
I don't know, bro.
This shouldn't be a discussion.
No.
This
That's
shouldn't be a
argument for the
discussion.
decade. No way.
Wow, that's a segment in itself. But
You know what? I'll put my boy Bobrovsky at 8, and then I'll put Tua at 9.
There we go. You know what? Don't like the Tua part, but I agree on this list. I like this list. It's pretty solid. Now mine, I think this is pretty interesting though. Now again, I would put Messi as well, number 1. I think Messi is definitely deserving. At 2, I actually do have Tyreek Hill. At 3, I got Matthew Tkachuk at 3. The guy comes up clutch throughout the playoffs. I mean, we've seen it time and time again. The series in the Eastern Conference Finals against Carolina, and then you also have, of course, the Stanley Cup going up against teams basically back-to-back Stanley Cups going against the Golden Knights. Was unsuccessful in that route, and then going out of their way to win again Game 7 in South Florida.
Made me sweat. I'll tell you that much.
So Kachuk, Barkov, and Sergey have definitely deserve a top 10 nod. I think Kachuk gets top 3 though. I think he's very impactful in that way, and one of the main reasons why. I mean, again, after that trade with Huberdeau, it's like the Panthers were on a whirlwind to go win it all eventually, and they did. So I definitely have Kachuk at 3. Tua, I am going to put Tua at 4. I personally think that when Tua's healthy,
At 4?
the team works around him, and literally, we've seen it. Hey, and we talked about this. When Tua isn't on the field, the team looks like a third world country. It doesn't look like itself. It looks lost, like it has no government. Third world, all right? So I think that Tua deserves to be a 4. At number 5, and again, this is current active, I got Luis Suarez. I think that, again, he's definitely deserving of that. Still a high goal-scoring professional in the MLS, mind you. Scored the other day. Yeah, very nice. And then Tyler Hero, I got Tyler Hero coming in at 6, career year all around. And again, we're talking about leading this team right now, basically averaging 24, 22, 25 points. I mean, he's dominating right now. So I have him there at 6. Now, the 7 through 10 spot, it's going to be a little controversial. I got myself Sergei Bobrovsky. I got him at 7. At number 8, I got Alexander Barkov, the captain for the Florida Panthers. I think that and again, at 29 years old, not a lot of people talk about him. Not a lot of people talk about him. So
Damn,
I think that
Barkov.
he does. I think he does squeak in. He is still one of the premier talents in the NHL.
Damn, you told me
And then
about
number.
Barkov. Damn, I might take out Tua, bro.
Wow, no love for Tua.
Bro, it's just that at least this guy has a championship or at least a playoff win.
I can't even hold you to that. I can't even. I'm not condoning it. I'm not condoning the Tua backlash right now, but I can see it. But yes, I think Barkov, I think he does come in at 8. Then the last two, I hate to like make these last two picks because I know there's a lot of like, again, obviously one of them is Jonnu Smith. I got Jonnu Smith at 9, but I
Damn.
feel like there are a lot of like guys in the Miami Heat that are dogs. I want to put Bam. I really want to put Bam. But Jockey, you're probably gonna hate me for this. Like actually actually hate me for this.
Bro, if you put H in it, I
No,
swear.
it might be a little worse. Might be a little worse.
Worse? Who could possibly be worse?
I'm putting Robert Taylor, Inter Miami, top 10.
Oh, yeah.
The guy's a stud. Future MLS MVP.
Future MLS MVP?
Yeah, I mean it's undeniable, man. He had that assist. He had that thing going with Messi in his first year. All right, the guy's he's an MLS legend right now, man. That's what they're saying.
Damn, Robert Taylor, bro.
I'm joking. We're gonna go Bam and a bio. But yes, my honorable mentions was Taylor and Jason Sanders, of course.
Jason Sanders.
The guy leads the Dolphins, and I mean he's Mr. Dolphin. That's what I see,
What is
man.
this?
Mr. Dolphin.
What is this? Doral Improv? Oh my god, Jason Sanders, bro. No. This guy wants to give me aneurysms, bro. Today, holy shit. No.
Let the kickers win, man. Hey, if a kicker can get the MVP in the NFL, Jason Sanders can make top 10. He can make top 10 in my books.
I feel like we're missing somebody. I know they wanted to like maybe if this list would have been.
Well, again, there's a lot of honorable mentions, let alone on the MLS side of things. Like Jordi Alba could easily be, or like even argue, maybe if you're looking still at the Dolphins side, maybe you can probably say, I mean, we already talked about H.N. Waddle and Jonnu Smith. Maybe you can also even find yourself in saying, when healthy.
I'm gonna make you could make the argument because he hasn't been drafted yet. Put Cam Ward in there.
You could. I mean, again, not an active, but still technically a Hurricane. Still technically.
Exactly.
And actually, let me ask you this new hypothetical then. If Cam Ward was still in the Hurricanes, would he be, and again, we're still top 10 realm, but top 10 or top 5? Where would you put him?
Is it a lot? Most of these players are professionals.
Yeah, but again, because of the Fox Sports standards, they did put a Hurricane in there. So I guess you can also include collegiate players.
I would have to remove. I would have to move Johnu down one and then put Cam Ward over it.
Okay.
No shade to Johnu, but
Yeah.
it's Cam.
It's Cam Ward. Cam Ward.
Damn, man, even Restrepo in there would still be.
Yeah, and that's another thing too. And again, because again, we talked about it to open up the podcast about good and bad of the week. The Hurricanes coming back, Canes heavily involved in the combine.
heavily.
Heavily.
A
I mean,
lot
again,
of players that didn't even go to the combine because they either were injured or they weren't invited. So, but I heard a lot of. Shout out to Sam Brown, who had supposedly an exceptional combine with like a vertical of like 41 and a half. Yeah, crazy
yeah.
fast time. So shout out to him. I would have to say, as of right now, if without Cam Ward, I think my list is solid. Messi, Hill, Hero, Suarez, Bam, Kachuk, Alcantara, Bobrovsky, Tua, and then Janu. But if not Janu, then I would put Barkov for sure.
Okay, so again, your honorable mention right now being Barkov
Barkov
and
slash Janu.
Cam Ward.
Yeah.
Yeah, or Jonu. And myself, I have a few Panthers in there. I don't have Sandy though. I think that is an interesting one because again, it's just missing a whole year. I need to see a little bit more than just 1 year out of him.
I think he's gone
And
after this.
Again, for Fox Sports, really gone after. I mean, again, a little out of the discussion, but not a playoff team we're seeing for Miami though. So you think gone after a little frustration?
I think gone because of the lack of winning. Like, sure, yeah, you can have loyalty to a team, but at some point, the losing and the negativity around you and the team and just like the publicity you get for just continuing, you can play really good. You can be like,
Yeah.
I don't care how good of a pitcher you are. If you can't get on base, then you're not gonna win games. And yeah, sure, the Marlins have like a lot of like good like projects that they can bring in from the farm system, but we don't spend money. So then, what do you expect to happen once like maybe a few of them do bloom and turn out to be decent players? They'll go somewhere else and they play and get some actual money, and then you're just screwed over and it's like, oh, back to square one again. And I don't think he's gonna be there for that long. I think we're just like a farm system for the MLB. This is a money laundering scheme, bro. I swear.
It'd be the most Miami thing ever.
Joe, seriously, money laundering scheme? Marlins. Let's go.
It's gotta be. It's gotta be. But actually, let's go into for the last 10 minutes basically of this one, because I think this will be our chunk of the Dolphin. Because for those who have been a huge supporter of HR and efforts, the Miami Dolphins basically A+ in everything when it comes down to organization, food, travel, and a lot of the lists. I mean, we're probably gonna talk about a few things from this list. Some of them very shocking, especially the owner wise in the AFC East. But the Dolphins finished with an evaluation of an A+ for team player treatment in the NFL for the second straight year. They're basically top of the chain in this, from facilities all across the board. Now, Jog, it hasn't really related to on the field success, but use this as a chip, though. Use it as a chip for free agents, or maybe guys who are just looking for teams. Devontae Adams, right now, a guy that is known to be right now on the block, the trading block for New York. We're getting away from the Aaron Rodgers experiment. Maybe he comes in with Tyreek. Again, a little bit of age, Devontae Adams. I see the shake of the head, though. I mean, do you think this won't matter at all in free agency? Or you think that, well, maybe guys will be moved a little bit?
First of all, I don't know how much the owner paid for those grades, because I find that to be complete BS, where this organization is an A+ all around. I get it. It's Miami. Whoever did the grading probably was like, all right, you know what? I'm gonna have a vacation down in Miami. All I gotta do is just take some money and just walk around at a facility here and there. Oh yeah, it looks nice. We're Miami. All right, back to South Beach. I'm not convinced, but will this help? No, I don't think this will help because I think Miami still needs to fix a bunch of issues internally, externally, the O line, D line, quarterback issue with his concussions. I don't know. Tyreek needs to fix his attitude on the field, and if he's gonna leave or not. I don't. We don't know to this day. Apparently, they're still in. The Dolphins are still apparently listening to trade talks. I don't know. This team needs to fix their issues. I don't care if they have like a VR room where like you can just pretend you're holding the Lombardi Trophy. It's it's ridiculous, bro. Like, who cares, bro?
But you gotta see the vision. You gotta see the vision, though.
I don't care how high tech the whole everything is, bro. I don't care. If you are not winning Super Bowls or winning playoff games, don't talk to me, bro. Where were the Eagles in this stat? Can you show me the list?
So let me look up the list right now because I do have a few points on that. Let me double check for Philadelphia right now for you.
Because if I remember from when I saw the list, I think Philly was like middle of the pack or just below middle of the pack.
Okay, let's just double check.
I knew the Vikings were high.
Trying to find there's a specific list here. I do believe the Eagles were in the middle. They did average around a B, C plus type of area overall evaluation. So, I mean, again, Jonathan, you are right in that point, though. Maybe this stuff doesn't matter on the field of winning stuff. I mean, again, the Eagles were basically the team to beat throughout the NFC, and they didn't have an A plus. They weren't close to an A plus at all in any parts. But actually, I do want to talk about this as well, though, because I thought it was really hilarious, though. Because again, you being a Patriots fan, me a Dolphin fan, we find little smiles in this. The Jets, F. The owner got an F. The only team in the entire NFL to go through this process with an F for the owner. I don't know if this is spelling something that it's more than just Aaron Rodgers' age or anything like that, but how cooked is New York right now to you?
Now, before I answer that question, you said at the beginning, it's like, oh, it's not about how the team success, but it's how the facilities and how the people treat each other, this and that. Is it really that bad at the Jets where you're giving them Fs for facilities and stuff? Like, let's be honest. There's some other ulterior motives going on in these.
Okay.
And I'm just saying, funny enough, how an Aaron Rodgers project that doesn't work out and there's a lot of drama and people got fired, people got let go. All of a sudden, they get all Fs. I'm just saying, doesn't bother me one bit. But I'm just saying, like, kind of, it's not sus. It doesn't look sus to me. But the Jets, they need to sell the team, get a new owner, they need a whole restart, bro. Whole new restart. Try to get Justin Fields, trade for JJ McCarthy, make a trade for somebody. They got Devontae Adams. I would trade Devontae Adams to get some picks. I think Breece Hall isn't really that good of a running back. I would trade him. Just whole new restart, bro. Like, whole new restart. And then just try again. Like, obviously, I don't think Jets fans want to see that because they're there. I mean, they have to wait every year for a potential, like, I guess, like, positive. Sorry, you know what I mean. But it's like
just something. A winning streak. What was the last time New York had a winning streak? That I can't even tell you. I know sometime this year.
I think it was after they beat the Texans, after they lost to New England. After we beat them, they go on and beat the Texans. after the Texans had just like had a crazy game. I remember that it was on like a Thursday night. It was great. It was a crazy
Yeah,
game.
and still eliminated early from the playoffs. So, excuse me, for New York standard, maybe a good few weeks here and there helps them out, but in the overall grand scheme of things, an F rating, the Dolphins with an A. And also, I do have to say though, I love the setup of the Baptist Health Training Facility. I don't care what anyone says. If you looked at what the Dolphins were dealing with like 10 years ago, and basically the Nick Saban bubble in Davie at the
I
NSU
agree.
campus, it looked like crap. It
Yeah.
was like, it's not even the fact that like it was a facility, an NFL facility on a college campus. It was an NFL facility on a college campus that doesn't even have football. All right. Like, what were they doing out there in Davie? It makes no sense to me. Like, I get the 1970s and Don Shula, they used to be playing where like the fields of like St. Thomas soccer plays now
Mhm.
over there in Miami. But this is a little different though. They got slides, they got a basketball hoop right there inside the film room, basically. I don't know if anybody saw Hard Knocks when the Dolphins had the in-season Hard Knocks. Pretty cool inside of the entire facility.
I do have to agree when it comes to South Florida. I think South Florida, I think, is like the number one location in all of sports where, because of where we are geographically in South Florida, where it's hot, humid, and windy, and some days it can get really, really tough to play outside. You have to have incredible like facilities to keep players, I guess like, how do you say, healthy enough, in good standing, healthy, be able to play no matter what weather.
Yeah,
Like,
be able to.
yeah, like even just recruiting. Like if you get some guy that came from Arizona, right? It was blazing hot sun, dry weather, no moisture whatsoever, and then you're able to bring him over here. Oh yeah, with these facilities, oh my god, this guy can prosper. Like that's obviously that's when facilities and money and all that stuff comes into play in recruiting. Then yes, that I can see that being an A plus on the list for the grades. I think South Florida
Yeah,
nobody beats. I don't think anybody beats South Florida in that. To be honest, that's probably why we got a lot of A's.
yeah. And again, we're talking about, you know, an owner that's not afraid to invest in stuff. I mean, if you look at like Hard Rock Stadium, how much has changed from the Miami Open to
Mhm.
F1 going around, which I think is coming up later on this year,
Yep,
pretty soon, actually, this spring.
can't
Um,
wait.
yeah, that tune in for our coverage for that though. We're gonna figure out a way to get in that. So I'm telling you though, this is just I think a start for it though. I think people are gonna start seeing more of the Dolphins like, hey, McDaniels, he's treating players right. They're on a plane. The plane ride for the Miami Dolphins, according to Ross, is that it's basically like a big Boeing. Like they're basically like doing Emirate type of flights, basically. As if you're
Nice.
doing like 12-hour travels, huge leg room, steaks and all that. The Jets can't even get them out of commercial, basically. So that's the way that they're comparing each other right now. So
It's like if in the perspective of a player, if you're coming into a team, right, and a player is coming into your as like a tryout or just like to potentially sign with your team, and they want to see the plane, they want to see the locker room, they want to see facilities, they want to see this and that, whatever it is they want to see. And if it's not up to par, and they see another team, and they see, oh my god, they're so much ahead, they're so much nicer, so they care way more, they've invested more money into my health. Why would I sign with a team that doesn't really care as much? So I think that's where the Jets are kind of lacking too. Like it's not, maybe it's not the ownership. It's not, maybe it is ownership because they're the ones with the money, but like it's decision making, and it is like if you just invest a little bit more money, it's not maybe just 20 million every year, just like little by little. If you can't afford it, but it's the giant, it's the Jets, it's the Giants, it's New York. You're gonna get money no
yeah,
matter what. I bet you if you do talk to the commissioner right now, I bet you get the funding for it because it's New York. and you got like 50% taxes on income. So
So, I mean, again, there's a lot of teams they didn't figure out. But as of right now, Miami Dolphins, second straight year in a row, dominating everything that's off the fields, at least on their facilities. And that'll do for us here for this Monday episode. Thank you guys again for joining into us. You'll be able to find all of our content and socials at Plug Talk Sports. I hope you enjoy the show. We'll see you guys next Monday, 10 p.m.
and don't forget, support the troops.